Let's be honest with ourselves for a second, we've all been hurt before. We've all sat through a world premiere trailer at the Game Awards, watched a vertical slice that looked like it was rendered by NASA's secret supercomputers, only for the final product to arrive looking like a bowl of digital oatmeal. I'm looking at you the day before I'm looking at you. Every Ubisoft trailer from 2014 to 2022. So, when Pearl Abyss first showed us Crimson Desert years ago, the collective reaction of the internet was skeptical. Yeah, okay, sure. We saw Kliff, our grizzled protagonist, who looks like he's seen enough war to make a Witcher retire, jumping off dragons, suplexing mercenaries, and sprinting through forests so detailed you could practically smell the pine needles and the sweat. We thought there is no way this runs on a console, there is no way this isn't a scripted lie, but here we are in 2026 and I'm standing, or rather sitting in a very ergonomic chair corrected. Crimson Desert didn't just launch, it detonated. It is the kind of success that makes other AAA developers look at their own project roadmaps and start sweating profusely. It's the game that proved South Korea isn't just the king of mobile gacha and MMO grinds, but a genuine threat to the Western open world throne. Today we are diving into why Crimson Desert is a masterpiece, how it managed to actually deliver on its impossible promises, and why I haven't seen sunlight in 3 weeks. Let's talk about the BlackSpace Engine. Pearl Abyss decided that Unreal Engine 5 just wasn't extra enough, so they built their own. This is usually where things go wrong. Just ask anyone who worked on the Frostbite engine outside of DICE. But BlackSpace? It's not an engine, it's a flex. The first time I rode into Hernand, I didn't even look at the NPCs. I looked at the mud. Yes, I spent 10 minutes looking at how the mud deformed under my horse's hooves. This game has better soil physics than most games have character development. The lighting system is so advanced it makes reality look like it needs a firmware update. But it's not just about the pretty, it's the interactivity. You know how in most open world games a forest is just a collection of static assets you walk through? In Crimson Desert, the environment is your weapon. I've seen clips and experienced this myself, where players are literally uprooting trees during a fight or using the wind physics to spread fire across a mercenary camp. It's chaotic, it's systemic, and it's a nightmare for my GPU, which currently sounds like a jet engine trying to take off from my desk. The optimization surprisingly didn't end up being the disaster we feared. Sure, if you try to run this on a toaster, it will explode and take your kitchen with it, but for the level of fidelity we're seeing, it's a technical miracle. If you've played Black Desert, Pearl Abyss knows how to make combat feel like a violent ballet. But Crimson Desert takes that DNA and injects it with a healthy dose of professional wrestling and John Wick energy. In most RPGs, combat is a cycle of attack, dodge, attack, special move. In Crimson Desert, I found myself grabbing a soldier by his plate armor, swinging him around like a sack of potatoes and throwing him into his friends. The grapple system is where the fun is. There is nothing, and I mean nothing, more satisfying than engaging a boss that's 3 times your size and realizing you can actually climb him, Dragon's Dogma style, and then power bomb him into the dirt. I remember this one specific encounter in the early game. I was outnumbered 5 to 1. Usually that's a runaway scenario. Instead, I used the move where Kliff slides under a horse, trips it, uses the momentum to launch into a backflip and then finishes with a sword strike that felt like it had the weight of a collapsing star. It's kinetic, it's heavy, it's the first time in years an open world game has made me feel like a genuine badass rather than just a stat block with a sword. And the best part, it's not just button mashing. If you don't time your parries and understand the physics of your weapons, the AI will humble you. They don't just stand there waiting to be hit, they flank. They use the environment and they will absolutely suplex you back if you're not careful. It's intellectual violence and I'm here for it. We need to talk about the map. We've entered an era where map size has become a toxic metric. Our map is 400 square miles. Cool. But if 399 of those miles are empty sand and repetitive bandit camps, I'd rather play Minesweeper. Pywel, the world of Crimson Desert, feels dense. It feels lived in. When you walk into a tavern, people aren't just standing there on a loop. They're arguing over debts, they're getting drunk, they're reacting to the weather outside. If it starts raining, the NPCs don't just stand there like NPCs in an Elder Scrolls game from 2011. They seek cover, they close up shops. The exploration feels organic. There are no towers to climb to reveal the map, thank the gaming gods. You find things by actually looking at the world. I found a hidden cave not because there was a giant glowing quest marker, but because I noticed a flock of birds behaving weirdly near a cliffside. That kind of emergent discovery is what made Elden Ring and Zelda greats, and Pearl Abyss clearly took notes. By the way, if you're enjoying this breakdown of why Pywel is the new gold standard for open worlds, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button and the like button. It helps the algorithm realize that we actually like good games and want more content like this. Done. Awesome. Let's get back to the carnage. Kliff is a great protagonist because he's tired. He's the leader of the Grey Mains, a mercenary group that's basically one bad day away from total dissolution. This isn't a story about a chosen one saving the world from an ancient evil. It's a story about loyalty, about the cost of leadership, and about trying to keep your friends alive in a world that wants to eat them. The shift from an MMO to a single-player focused adventure was the smartest move Pearl Abyss ever made. It allowed them to actually write a script that matters. The dialogue is sharp, the voice acting is world-class, and the choices actually feel like they have weight. I've aggregated a lot of the community sentiment on this, and the consensus is clear: people are tired of the silent protagonist, as we want characters with scars, both literal and metaphorical. Kliff has plenty of both. When he talks about his past, you feel the weight of every mistake. It reminds me of the best parts of The Witcher 3, where the main quest is often less interesting than the personal dramas happening in the side quests. So, how did Crimson Desert become a huge success while other big-budget titles in 2025 struggled? First, transparency. After the initial silence, Pearl Abyss started showing real gameplay. Not just cinematic trailers, but raw gameplay demos. They let people play it. They didn't hide behind review embargoes until the day of launch. Second, the single-player pivot. They realized that the market was oversaturated with live service garbage. Everyone is trying to sell you a battle pass and a $20 skin for a gun. Crimson Desert said, "Give us your money once, and we will give you a legendary experience." What a concept, right? Third, polish. Unlike the release now, patch later culture we've grown to hate, Crimson Desert launched in a state that actually felt finished. Sure, there were bugs, every open world has them, but nothing game-breaking, no falling through the floor into the void every 5 minutes. The sales numbers don't lie. Breaking 5 million copies in the first week for a new IP from a studio that hasn't done a major single-player console release before is staggering. It's a testament to the fact that players are starving for high-quality, high-fidelity single-player experiences. As if you haven't guessed by now, I think Crimson Desert is the game of the decade contender we weren't sure would ever actually arrive. It's a marriage of technical brilliance and soulful storytelling. Is it perfect? No. The UI can be a bit cluttered, and some of the late game crafting requirements feel a bit too much like the Black Desert grind snuck in through the back door, but these are nitpicks in the face of what is otherwise a generational leap in gaming. When I look back at my time in Pywel so far, I don't think about the frame rate or the resolution. I think about the time I defended a village from a dragon by literally jumping onto its back from a watchtower mid-fireball and riding it into the ground. That's the magic of gaming that we often lose in the sea of corporate spreadsheets and engagement metrics. Crimson Desert is a reminder that when a studio is given the time, the budget and the vision to create something unique, they can change the industry. Pearl Abyss was the underdog, the MMO dev that everyone doubted. Now they're the ones setting the bar. If you want to check out the facts for yourself, check the official portals and major technical reviews online. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It's been a wild ride watching this game go from a dream trailer to a must-play reality. Let me know in the comments what was your favorite holy crap moment in Crimson Desert, or if you haven't played it yet, what are you waiting for? Thanks for watching, stay awesome, and I'll see you in Pywel. Peace out.